welcome to Whiteboard Wednesday. I'm in the studio. Would you believe it? I know you all love it when I'm in the studio. So today I'm going to do social media and I have to push the right buttons. So I'm going to talk about social media. Before I do that, I just want to say hello to the 4 fans that I met at CabSat last couple of weeks ago. It was really nice to meet you. It was really fun that I'm getting through to some people and I've got some fans out there. Rock and roll. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is where is social media in 2022? So where are we actually? What's the state of play with social, generally speaking? So what we're looking at is basically a real tsunami, tidal wave of social media that's coming along now, and it seems to be taking over pretty much everything and every part of our lives. There are actually 4.62 billion users of social media over the last 12 months. And that's been, of course, used by the pandemic has, of course, increased that amount. And the average amount of time spent online on social media is 2 hours and 27 minutes a day. That's a lot of eyeballs in one place for quite a long time. There's been a 10.1% rise year on year in social media users, and 93.4% of people who use the internet use social media. That's hardly a surprising statistic. I don't know what the others are up to. Perhaps it's something they shouldn't be doing, but never mind. Okay, so here is the most popular social networks worldwide. So this is the monthly active users up until January 2022. And you can see Facebook is absolutely king. Facebook is right on top there, followed by YouTube, WhatsApp, and then Instagram. Interestingly, Meta owns 3 of the top 4, which is quite interesting. And as we go down, you see, surprisingly, things like TikTok down here underneath WeChat. So when we look at this growth factor, I found this really interesting graph online the other day. And if I can get my pen out, because it is a Whiteboard Wednesday, right? Here's my pen. What was really interesting is that TikTok here, actually, if you look at the growth in the US, in 2020, it grew 87.1%. I mean, that's a rocket ship. But in 2021, it only grew 18.3%, which suggests that it's starting to flatten out a little bit. But if you look at Facebook, who's king, it only grew 3.3% in 2020 and 0.8% in 2021. Now that tells you something interesting. While Facebook may be king, it's a question for how long. I think I have a slide for that. Oh, here we are. So there's a slowdown coming, effectively. The most downloaded apps on iOS and Android in 2021 was TikTok, okay? So you're starting to see this inversion, okay? Facebook may be king right now, but on the rise, TikTok is really flying, followed by Instagram and then Facebook and then WhatsApp. And WhatsApp's an interesting thing because not only is that, I hope I got the size right, I have. Social is actually becoming much more private. So we're seeing apps like WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, where people are creating community groups inside their application, and they're communicating and sharing things in a closed space. And that's actually more difficult for APIs and for broadcasters, for instance, to reach. So the question is, what does all of this mean for broadcasters? Well, there's a very, very, very interesting trend in social media that I think actually is something that broadcasters can really leverage off the back of that. According to LinkedIn, and I need to get my little pen out here. Well, I'm sure you're going to read ahead of me, but no, let me get my pen out again. So images, so the still pictures result in a 2 times higher comment rate. Okay, so if you post a picture, you get 2 times more comments. If you post a video, you get 5 times more engagement. But if you do what I'm doing right now, live video gets 24 times more engagement, okay? And when you consider that 2 hours, 27 minutes of eyes on social media, if you can engage 24 times more people using live, win-win, right? And that's exactly what I'm doing here, for instance. Also, if you look at the fact that live is basically back, you know, live flow, doing something spontaneously and being able to actually put the content out there and being equipped to do that is basically the new black. Live is back and is the new black. I don't have a page for that, there we go. And you can even see it on Facebook. So if you look at the interaction by post type, live video is miles ahead of all the other things, links, images, status, videos, okay? So live really, really is back. The issue here is, as we all know, live is difficult, okay? To actually create a broadcast like I'm doing now requires some preparation, some thought, what you're going to do. You need some equipment, and you also need to have the talent to be able to pull it off. I'm not saying that I'm the talent at all, but we all know that live is difficult. That's how the broadcast industry has grown up, to make live as simple as possible. But look what you need to make a good live show. You need a lot of gear and a lot of thought. So with that, I'm going to now utterly terrify myself, and I'm going to try and do something live. So first and foremost, I have to push a button here, and that should bring in the weather. And a button here should bring in my next logo, and I've already got my crawl there. And then I'm going to bring in my audience comments. Now here in my audience comments, if any of you are watching live, get your phone out and send me a tweet to NXT or hashtag NXT Social. Where is it down there? Hashtag NXT Social. It doesn't have to be upper or lowercase. And if you have any questions, just send them in, and I will try and aggregate them, and we will try and make a show here. Now, here's an interesting thing. I already have one, so here's my next social. I will push it into there. And yes. What you need is staff. Okay, so here's a question from Lucy, who silently works for my PR company. So she's asked, what is the age demographic for TikTok users? Lucy's only asking me this because she knows I don't know. The age demographic for TikTok users is probably somewhere between, I would guess legally 12 or 13 to about 20, but that's kind of increasing because that demographics age is actually starting to move. You know, there was a time when Facebook was for young people, but now those young people have moved, and Facebook's now for old people. So TikTok's kind of going through that bit of a transformation at the moment as well. So let's just see. Oh, we got another question come in here. All right, let's add that to my list here. I need staff. Okay, did I add it to my list? Yes, I did. It's a question from Bethany, and then I just need to find it here. Oh, which question? There we are. Will social television evolve beyond Facebook and Twitter? Now, that is a hard one to answer. Will Facebook... It's a question of social television. What is social television? Is this social television? Is a 3-second clip on YouTube Shorts social television? I think we're going to see more platforms evolve. That's for sure. There's going to be an increase in the amount of social companies that are going to come to market with different things. And as well, when we get into technology evolving, so for instance, we can start talking about Snapchat have released these glasses now where you can actually have the Snapchat lenses in the glasses. That's a really interesting development. And are we moving not so social television, are we moving to an augmented reality world where we're all wearing glasses and we have like almost a head-up display of everything that's going on around us? A little like I have the weather up here, but you could have, you know, the directions for where you're going and your social feed and everything always in your environment around you. So it's a good question, but I don't think social television in itself will be a thing. I think we'll have this broader scope of how things are actually overlaid over video and how video is used. Oh my God, I'm getting lots of questions. This is great. Okay, Duncan, I'm just going to get you into the system and see if I can get you onto the page. Do I do that? Duncan comes up. Oh no, I'm going backwards. I need to go forwards. There we are. Will social media replace the need for traditional news programs? Now, again, technically, social media has replaced where people get their news. I actually saw a graph yesterday when I was researching this that showed something like 30% of Americans, adults over the age of 40, are using Facebook as their main source of news, which is slightly alarming. The question is, where does that news come from? That news could be from, you know, CNN posting on Facebook. So then that's a conduit, and it's just another source that a news organization should have to push to. Traditional news, like, there are still people who want to watch the news at 6 o'clock. You know, I'm sort of one of them. I'm getting out of the habit a little bit, but there are definitely people on the planet who wish to watch the news at 6 o'clock or watch the news at 9 o'clock. The question is, does it have to be live? You know, could we assemble that content through the day and then just play out effectively an aggregation of that content and push that out. That depends on what the newsroom of the future and the news studio of the future is, which is something we're actually working on a little bit, so we might come back to that. Okay, here is another question. I tried to rehearse this properly. It's one from Mr. Roger. Let me see if I can get to Mr. Roger's question. Okay, so what did you learn at the Odense Media Tech Festival? Now, that was interesting. Yusuf Omar, I think his name was, did a great presentation, literally on these Snapchat goggles, which I knew nothing about, but also how he was using Snapchat lenses to tell news stories. So he would use, for instance, the funny face, like a giraffe filter for the face, to cover up the face of, for instance, rape victims in Afghanistan, and thereby giving them anonymity, but also making that story travel a little bit. And giving it some more legs. Other things, he's been making lenses actually for Snapchat that you can tell a story around, like there's a globe, for instance, of the Earth, and you can point at things and try to make a story about global warming about that. So I found that fascinating, that we could actually start to look at using not the traditional tools, but the tools given to us by the social media companies to actually then generate stories and share them with the world. You know, we don't always have to be in this kind of, you know, broadcast environment. We need to be able to push things to different places very, very, very quickly. I think I've got all the questions. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a poll, okay? Now bear with me. This did work in rehearsals. So to do this, I have to put this up. So this will give us a QR code. And when I was testing, you'll notice that I've put all of the scores the same. So can social media revive the fortunes of live TV? Get your phone out. Click on that little thing there, and it will actually, you can answer the question, and we'll just see what the audience thinks. And in the meantime, I'm going to do a little cheeky thing, and I'm going to go live on Facebook, because it's fun, using my touch screen while you're doing that. So I have to do a new publish here, and I have to go new Facebook. So here's the Facebook, and let's see, next edition. So that's the next edition page. Let's ask people to join in our poll. And then what I need to do now is I just need to grab the ingest channel. So this is actually the ingest channel for my TX out, and I'm going to drag my live TX out in here. So instead of me sending just a picture, Next knows it's a video. So Next knows that we were going to start a live. And now I just started a Facebook Live, just like that. Really good. How are we doing? Oh, there's a lot of voting going on. I'm just waiting for this to start up. There we go. And where are we? Let's see. 75% says yes. So I have managed to convince you of my argument, which is fantastic. And I'm glad not a lot of people don't know, because that's the funniest emoji I've ever seen. So at that point, ladies and gentlemen, I would just say thank you for watching. I'm just going to grab my gallery here, because I've remembered I forgot to actually select to end my show. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. Everyone must subscribe, because I've seen 63% of you are not subscribers. If you subscribe, then it will tell you when I put a new video up. It'll be fun. Anyway, that's great. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next one. Everybody, have a good weekend.